Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Wok with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at wokwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Each time when I have a chance to eat some really great cooking, I always keep that in mind. I will come home and try to reproduce it. And I remember eating a fried rice a number of years ago. The fried rice is crisp and the rice kernel is slightly fried. It gives wonderful flavor. And I always try to figure out how I can recreate it. And this is a video to show you how I make this fried rice. I call this the pepper fried rice. Not only the rice kernel is nice and crisp, but the fried rice has a wonderful pepper flavor. I cook this fried rice in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok on a glass-top electric stove. Now obviously you can create this fried rice in any type of heat source, any type of wok. Heat management turned out to be really critical in making fried rice, and I will try to point out to you how I adjust the heat. Of course, you should have a wok surface that are well seasoned. I use my spot seasoning method to season my stainless steel wok to create a non-stick cook surface, and it worked extremely well. However, with stainless steel wok, it is important that I season the wok each time before I start to cook. Now, I'm going to make this fried rice use rice that I have stored in the refrigerator for probably over a week. Now, rice actually has excellent shelf life, and you can store it for up to a week to 10 days. And for fried rice, actually it is important, the longer you store it, the drier that it becomes, and the most likely that you are able to create a crispy texture for the fried rice. Now when rice has been in the refrigerator for a long time, they become very hard. That makes them difficult to break up. And in this case, I use this really nice tool which is referred to as a hamburger meat smasher. It is excellent for breaking up hamburger meat when you make spaghetti sauce or make chili. But it turned out that it is wonderful for breaking up rice as well. As you can see in here, it will be much more difficult if I use a wok spatula to try to break this up. And in this case, I'm not only able to break it up effectively, but I also do not make any mess. With a wok spatula, which I have done in the past, I end up a lot of rice on the countertop, on the floor, and in this case, it makes it much simpler. For this fried rice, I use jasmine rice. The dryness of the rice turned out to be really important if you want the rice kernel to be slightly crisp, because moisture will prevent the rice from being fried. So a certain type of rice actually will work better. In the past, I have done a video that I use basmati rice, which is probably the rice with the lowest moisture, and that actually will work extremely well. Now, in this case, I'm going to season the rice first with my Wok with Tak basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix contains a lot of seasoning agents that has high umami flavor, and this will make the rice with more savory flavor. Aroma plays a central role in flavor because when we detect flavor, we use our nose as well as our tongue. Now this seasoning mix contains minced onion flakes that will provide wonderful flavor for the dish. For this dish, I'm going to include the egg in a slightly different approach. Egg plays an important role in all fried rice, but there are many different ways that you can add eggs to the fried rice. One of the common ways is to fry the egg separately. But in this case, I'm going to mix the egg with the rice. And this is the reason that I'm going to create a well in the middle of the wok. And I'm going to add the egg directly up to the well as I am cooking the fried rice. In this case, I'm going to add 3 eggs. As you can see is that I add a little bit of oil first to provide some oil for frying the egg. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to mix the egg directly with the rice. Now there's a reason behind this, because if I can coat the rice with the egg, it's more likely for the rice to fry and create a crispy texture. When I use this method, I do not allow the egg to be fried on their own. Instead, I immediately mix the eggs and the egg yolk will coat the fried rice and give it a golden color. And this is the reason the approach in cooking this fried rice is also referred to as the golden fried rice approach. And there are clearly many different ways that how you can add egg to the fried rice. And each of these different approach creates variations. And these variations will improve the culinary experience. So each time, by changing the way how you add the egg, you will immediately to create different characteristics for the fried rice. And that is why I make home cooking so interesting as well exciting. This is also the foundation of template-based cooking. As you can see, cooking this fried rice basically based on a simple template. A template is to make sure you have the rice that's stored in the refrigerator for a certain amount of time to keep the rice dry, and then you use egg. But with this template, you can make adjustment how you're going to add the egg. And once you master the basic template, you can make many changes that lead to different outcomes. And now this is a template for a basic vegetable fried rice. I'm going to start out with some frozen edamames. The reason for that is because my wife loves edamames, and this is followed by a frozen vegetable mix that contains green beans, sweet corn, sweet peas, and carrot. This represents the basic template of a vegetable fried rice. The idea of the template is actually quite simple, is to make sure that you add whatever ingredients to the fried rice that can be cooked quickly. In this case, all of the frozen vegetables come directly from the freezer to go into the wok, because this is the best way to actually thaw out the vegetables in the wok while you stir frying them, and this will allow them to retain the texture. Heat management is an important part in cooking this fried rice. The only time when you want the heat to be set to low or medium is that when you're breaking up the rice. In this case, the rice will be sitting at the bottom of the wok when you try to break it up, and you do not want to have the heat too high, because when you are not stirring the content in the wok, they are more likely to get burned. However, once I stir the fried rice, you can turn the heat all the way back to high. And in this case, it is a matter of the intensity of the heat versus the speed of your stir frying. If the heat is very high, then you need to stir fry rapidly. Now, the high heat is very important in this portion of the cooking because with the high heat, you're able to evaporate as much moisture as possible, and this will allow you to actually fry the rice as well as other ingredients to create that crispy texture. How long you need to fry them basically depend on the intensity of the heat. If the heat is very high, you probably can cook them much faster. But it doesn't mean that you cannot fry them if your burner has a relatively low heat capacity, because with constant stirring, you will ultimately achieve that goal. And this is what makes stir frying with such a great flexibility, and you can cook on almost any type of burner based on how much you want to cook them. I'm going to season this fried rice in a sequential manner. The first thing is that I want to make sure that it is the salty level that I want. So instead of using soy sauce, I'm going to use salt directly. Again, I do not want to introduce any moisture to this fried rice. The moisture level is really important. By keeping the moisture level low, it's more likely for me to able to fry the rice to the texture that I want. Now, there are many different ways to further season the fried rice, but one way I'm going to do this time is that I'm going to add some black pepper, because I have had another fried rice similar to this that with a high level of black pepper and really enjoy it. So in many ways, this is a kind of flavor chasing to reach the flavor that I need. So I just use a grinder and grind up some fresh black pepper into the wok. And next, I'm going to add a small amount of sesame oil. This sesame oil has hot oil in it already. Again, you notice that the critical part in cooking this fried rice is to introduce as little moisture as possible, because without the moisture, you are able to fry the rice. If you have too much moisture, the fried rice will become soggy and it will not have the crispy texture that you are looking for. If you take a look closely at this fried rice, you notice that some of the rice kernel has been fried and brown, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is that because of the nature of how I fry them. And the second important contribution to the nature of the kernel of the rice is how I incorporate the egg. You notice that in the beginning, I coat the fried rice with egg. And this changes the texture of the rice, actually make it more crispy. By using the different approach in how you incorporate the egg, you can actually create significant changes in the characteristic of the fried rice. And this is where experimentation plays a very important role. And in home cooking, you can use your imagination and you can using your experience. And with the fast cooking system, it is designed in such a way to provide you with the opportunity to experiment as well as to try different approach in cooking a dish. And the end result is that it provides you with a lot of possibilities. So finally, I garnish the fried rice with some scallions. A simple fried rice does not have to be boring because you have an opportunity to make different adjustments on how you cook them. This hopefully is an example to demonstrate to you that you can use your imagination to create many different kinds of fried rice by making very simple as well as small adjustments. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system. So it will make your home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.